let's call the order at 4:05. First order of business is minutes. To have a motion for the attached minutes from the May 3rd, 2023 meeting. Okay. I will second. Any questions or discussion? I am as well. All right, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion passes. So we'll go right on to item C, which is building the website update. Yes, right in front of us.
Wow. Yes, so thank you to OMG. We have this really cool drone footage of the progress of the building. This is as of, I think, last week, right, Nelson?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
It was set up for graduation.
These are day after,
Day after.
because you could see the chairs like.
Yeah,
This is past week.
last week.
Yeah,
so
definitely. We did let it
congratulations,
play again,
Tuesday,
just so everyone can see the beginning of it. It is a cool.
Are you able to get the music on?
I don't know.
Because there is music, so.
I don't think so.
doesn't- There's Officer Murphy.
That looks really good. Doesn't it look really good? That's cool.
We'll do another of these at the end of the summer. So we're not doing this every month. Do it when we actually.
See the progress.
Is it more or less on schedule?
Yes.
It's a canned answer.
We are on schedule.
We are on
More or
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that view for whatever. I guess.
Yeah, that's a great view right
This-
there.
I think this is, that is so much better than
Yeah.
still.
less. And
You get
Yeah.
contact with- you get
Yeah.
contact with the other building.
It gives you the site, it gives you the layout, I think now people can kind of really understand the size.
The magnitude, yeah. the
Yeah.
size of the project, yeah.
So we added that to the banner rather than just a static photo that we had
Yeah,
before.
great idea.
We updated below, just a little bit of an update, that'll match the update going in the town newsletter, just a little wrap up that Meg provided about the, topping off ceremony, and then just upcoming work that we have planned. We also updated below some of the stills from that drone shot, so we did continue our gallery that we're building of the progress. Devin, is there the topping off ceremony?
Yes.
And then we just wanted to give kind of an update from the topping off ceremony, so we added some of the photos to the event. Oh, really awesome.
So these are gonna be, I'm working on the newsletter for the schools, and this will be, or you said a copy looks fine.
And then, oh, the videos, yeah.
One of the students took a video of the actual steel beam plates.
I didn't see them. Put it on the folder, we should. Okay. We did that, and then we wanted to take. Yeah, mine's a straight up views. Yeah, that's hard.
Where's the sword?
We could cut out right before that.
Squadron.
Yeah, if anybody has some photos, we're compiling it, we'll add to this gallery that we have here.
I know Dan Markham is still putting some stuff together too, so we'll have some more footage.
Yes, I thought, I saw all the professional cameras. Yeah.
Yeah, there were some good pictures. We should also add the building committee one that we have here.
Did we get any, I know we got minor, medium coverage, local, did we get everything else?
I didn't see anything after the fact. I know there was a Harvard Current article that went out the same day of it and it referenced it, but I didn't see any after.
It was like failure, but one of those had a little bit of
Valley,
something.
Valley, yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know, it was what press.
Oh, yeah.
running press.
There's a nice picture of you.
There's
I
something
did see
you can
that.
too,
I think
because
it's-
you can take the photos for certain stills from the motion. You know how to speed it up once? So you start at the ground level, you carry the photos you got, and it shows the progress where it looked like 15 seconds where we are right now.
Okay.
That it would just create more visual interest. So here's where we started in, what was the date, actually, the ground,
Yeah,
November?
end of November, yeah.
And then, okay, so here's November, here's your this date. And you could do one of those, you see those really fast.
Yeah.
Ones that are putting up a building.
You'd have to put, it'd have to be on a fixed point every month.
Yeah.
If you want like that, time lapse, you want to it.
Yeah, time lapse photos probably better way to count. but we have to, if you're interested in that, you know, for, on the website particularly. If you have enough, it might be just more visual interest.
Well, every time we take a drone shot, it'll GPS the location. Or something like that, but it won't be something like.
We also have our police department, it's their job.
They do it every year.
Fly it every week.
Oh,
So they're compiling all of that footage as well.
And on the building, inside the building. Later on, we'll get ones that fly inside the building, we'll do some shots.
look at the website, Dave. I think that's great. How we doing on traffic? We get any, like,
Let's take a look.
This is looking up that, just on social media, I don't know if you got wind and someone did say, like, I emailed about the baseball fields, like, there's a whole conversation
Oh,
on
yeah.
that.
We've been, that person emailed the building committee, the 1928 committee, the town council chair, the athletic director, and we have those.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, so just reading through the comments, I was just thinking, like, how much is this website also tied with the 1928? There's just one comment I said that they felt like they had to dig.
Yeah. I mean, these are two completely separate projects, so they aren't linked.
Yeah.
But in the response, I did link minutes and presentations and agenda, every time that it was discussed.
Yeah,
Just so sometimes, and this website has evolved. Remember, we had the first referendum, then we had to take stuff down, and we had the second referendum, then we had to take stuff down. But the consistent things are the minutes and the meeting videos that we have. So I think those are a good tool. And we try to do the chair reports, to make them even more concise.
yeah,
That like last 30 days,
that's probably why you got a big.
rather topping off.
Yeah.
She was like that, she's all over social media, which is fine, but I just,
Oh,
like
yeah.
you just to get an idea of what the other.
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks after.
Oh, okay, we're.
Where are we lacking?
Right,
So-
yeah, but where are they coming from, what is their perspective?
Yeah.
That's a few days after.
And one of the things that is it's really
That's a topic,
confusing
sir.
procedure from the outside
What's
looking
read on
in,
that?
especially about the value engineering that we have.
Sure.
And we do have that whole dedicated page on value engineering, and we tried to be as thorough as possible and say, we got, after design development, we went out, we got the quote, here's what we did. Then after, again, here's what we did, and if you have a second to go to the design, the value engineering page under cost.
No, I agree, and if you're not like following.
If you don't,
along,
yeah, it's
and then you
very-
Come in from like left field, it's like, well. I need to-
Under project cost.
and it also depends on what question you're asking, right? So,
Right.
So we tried to say, post referendum cost estimate number 1, this is what we did, and then we linked agenda, minutes, video, every discussion that we had. Then we did it again for design development. Here's where the budget came in, here's what we cut, agenda, minutes, video. And then again was the construction documents, we tried to make it as concise and transparent as
and the brand
possible.
list shows you right there.
And then the grand list shows you every item that we reviewed and either accepted or rejected. So the information's there. I think we just need to try to make it more easier to find potentially.
Well, it's just like, I think what it is, it's from what I got, I'm just reading, it's like they felt like they had to dig.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's thinking to myself, this is the conference.
A lot of
And it
Yeah,
was,
like-
it was over a year
Yeah.
ago, so a lot has happened since then. So I think we can take that information and try to place things that might be easier to find. But we did make an effort, because we knew, people are gonna see what was cut and why was it cut, and that's why we made this dedicated page to try to have it in one spot.
So thinking out loud, do you think maybe that should be a frequent asked question, FAQ?
Yeah, I think
Pull
maybe,
that out? That's something that's kind of on the table.
I think maybe at our next meeting, we can review frequently asked questions now that we're going through
Yeah.
construction. And I think this committee can vet them and we'll put them up and make sure, and that's a perfect example. This is
Yeah.
what we're hearing out there. This is what's hard to find. Let's make it easier to find on the
Like the
website.
tennis courts, the baseball field.
Yeah.
Those two are just, because these people are coming out later after
Yeah.
the process and like, hey, wait a minute, where's baseball fields, where's it? It's like, right, we've been talking about this, but.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe not because the
Maybe
kids are
that's the
not.
next newsletter, goes out all the time. Q&A, the cost, I mean, very simple, where the cost benefit stuff, you know, where we are.
Yeah.
And then here's what's been spent, here's what's been done, and here's what's projected to opening day. So it's kind of like a 50% done project, Megan. And then use that newsletter to say, okay, here's going forward, what we have to do to finish it. And then do, you know, then the silly questions you get, Wendy, might be, okay, ball field will be done by this date. It's going back to that calendar, which we always put in every newsletter.
Yeah.
And say, here's where we are, you know, here's what's gonna happen in the next month, because I assume going forward, it will be all the interior work pretty much in the fall. More or less.
Yeah, because the parking lots, will be primarily established.
Yeah.
It's mostly interior work.
So we can just tell people, because they have no context other than. You know, they'll see, you know, the website's really good for an update, but using the newsletter for very specific information. That is a timeless stuff. So we should look at a certain date, because I think we send this out in late fall. Or no, we sent this one out in September, October, because of the,
Yeah, it was right before, it was after, yeah, it was October, because that was when the bids came in. And we, we're gearing up for the next round.
yeah, and then we did this one for the topping off. Right?
Yes.
So we did the fall version, so that would be after Labor Day. And then the spring one, and then there'll be probably one with a big event opening. That'd be the third news, so that's why I had that on my, looking at my schedule. On the budgets and everything. 3 more, and the last one will be kind of like we did prior to referendum. Instead of having all the renderings,
The real.
actually have the photographs.
Yeah, I like that. So I think for this committee, what we'll do is we'll put together FAQ where we are, what we've been hearing, and get a draft to this committee for the next time that we meet.
Maybe that's something we can, in the communications update coming out of this.
Yeah.
Solicit from the building committee, please submit to us prior to our next meeting so that we can take any input there that are the building.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So, you know, I mean, I think we're getting that information from all different places, so let's.
Cause you have Johnny who lives in the
Right,
highway,
yeah, exactly.
that's a whole nother conversation piece.
Yeah, then we're gonna talk a little bit about that.
Has there been much, come on, I know you don't follow Facebook, but you say you're wet on the page. Has there been much chatter lately or conversation? She does.
I try not to go on.
I was just curious, yeah.
But it's good to get
I don't.
a pulse of the people. like that.
Well, naturally, those are the questions that we're getting, we should make sure it's easy to find information and
Well, we can
take the response that we sent to
our next agenda, just so I can take a note.
Yeah.
That one, right? Yeah.
What's-
the actual-
yeah. I just feel like those, I don't know if they're up, but it's just good to just, I just read.
Oh, I read, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, so
I stay up to date.
Yeah, you kind of have.
I don't participate.
That's the same thing, I'm just reading it, but just to get a pulse.
Yeah, I think the things you want to, just 3 basics and then other ones is that, are we on schedule?
Oh, yeah.
Are we on, schedule on time? Are we within budget?
We usually put that in the update up front, right? Or had to be.
And what more, that's everyone, what more has to be done?
It should, if it's not already in there, we should.
And then schedule, then the timelines could be based upon that.
You know, whatever we did last year.
It was a lot. Newsletter. We can take that sentence, and put it in there. That's what people want to know.
I'll solicit then during the communication subcommittee update. I'll ask our building committees to think about that.
Yeah, that'll be great.
That information, but.
Thank you.
Okay. And then obviously the CAP's response will go out with the minutes.
Yeah, I'll put my response for the minute, that's what they say.
Yeah.
That will be
Just so, yeah.
So we'll get this from multiple perspectives and angles to make sure that there's a thorough response.
Another maybe suggestion too is when you create these on schedule on time on budget, can we do like an infographics?
We have a chart that the finance subcommittee has been tracking, or the chart Siraj suggested.
Yeah. That's the on budget.
That's the on budget.
Would that provide that beneficial information? You're talking about putting it on our website.
Yeah, we could brainstorm an infographic potentially, or maybe like completion, like I'm thinking, how fundraising.
Yeah.
Like how here, we hit the thermometer, maybe if we say like we're at 50%, maybe that's a cool graphic.
Just a little milestone.
So it's not
Or something
tied,
down or
to
left or right
it's not
or-
tied to dollars or schedule, it's kind of just like a comprehensive. It's a quick look. Yeah, no one has to read, it's a quick look. Oh, we're
Yeah,
here.
let's think about what people are, because there's ways to do it, right? You can do it where you're actually answering those 3 questions. Red, yellow, green, here's where we are on status or whatever,
Right.
it's like highlight, or we're just doing a big general temperature.
You remember the
Of the project overall.
the PowerPoint slide?
Like, what's the best way to represent and,
Yeah, maybe like a status of like the overall budget with your contingency, something
Yeah,
very high level.
Yeah.
Get too into the details, you're gonna have people that are gonna say, well, what type of graphic is that? Some people don't understand it.
and
Maybe
your
just like-
report that you give Nelson does kind of have a little bit more detailed
Oh,
information.
sure.
a lot more.
I don't know if you want to post that.
No, I'm just saying, it is referenced with our minutes and all of those things, so that information is available for a deeper dive.
Yeah,
This
to
would be more of a
anybody who knows
snapshot.
it's public information once we submit it, but that you need somebody that really would be interested in that. Yeah.
Click here to get that, to get it. I think
Click here, it's big enough.
But maybe we can think about
Better case to read the.
the best way to represent it, just, hey, if you're looking for,
At the end of the day, you're talking a couple hundred people, most people, you got the budget passed, the referendum, and you're saying, okay, just get it done, we see the bill open, so. You don't want to, it's not a large audience you're appealing to, they want to read all the details, put them up on the website. And I think what you do is that, because I was looking at the schedule, so we have kind of 50% done, we started in November, till August 31st this year. Here's what's done, and we have the, thermometer kind of thing. And then going forward from September to next September, and saying, here's what we have to finish by opening of the school.
Or if you want to make it very simple, you make a pie chart, construction costs, soft costs, contingency. And that,
I like that.
as the project moves along, you're absorbing more contingency depending on changes. And that way, you're showing, okay, this is. Cause it's never gonna be, you're never gonna go to another referendum.
It's almost like, that, what the chart or something that I provided, like at the last meeting where it was like, this is our budget for architect, this is our budget, and like, this is what our budget was, this is where we are, this is what we have left. I think if you just took that and turned it into like a graphic or like a category or
Soft
something,
costs.
yeah, you could do, like, that's something that you do in Excel, I think.
We've always used 5 buckets. You're finding for you, we always use 5 buckets, but
so,
I mean,
maybe we can come up with a couple
Yeah,
with examples. I just remember back when we were even going through the second referendum conversation, the introduction of contingency is a level of complexity I'm not sure everybody understands.
Yeah.
Meaning it's still part of the budget,
Right.
right? The budget's the budget.
Yeah, that's not
Where,
on top
what
of-
bucket it's sitting in, I'm not saying don't do it, but let's just be thoughtful on our audience and what.
Yeah, contingency is not a normal cost.
Right, exactly, and I know that came, like, when we introduced it, it generated questions, I remember, in that meeting. What does that, how much is in there, what are you doing, and
Why?
what if we don't use
So
it,
it's
what if, you know, what I mean, it's rather
design.
than, here's the budget, here's where we are,
It's
we're on budget,
construction.
yeah,
we're on time,
yeah.
Technology.
Let's see if
and we're
there's a,
50% done,
You don't want to go talk about the stuff that we're already.
So design.
right, that's, I mean,
This
yeah.
is just, this is just
I think we just have to
status
think
stuff.
about that.
I think we just have to think about it. Let's, try to, maybe if you could represent that and bring a sample for the next
Yeah.
meeting, and if we do the thermometer and represent that for the next
Right.
meeting, and kind of have a visual to look at and then really hash it out.
I
Right.
could put like a couple different like example slides together and then
Yeah.
they'll just update and then you can pick what you want to list.
Yeah, I think that's the best approach, but then we can actually see it,
Yeah.
and let's take a look at it from
And see how it looks.
that interpretation, and what does that really mean?
pre-referendum, what I really liked was the slide that you had created where it's just basically like our 10 tasks that we had to get
Oh,
to referendum. And it's like,
Arrows on it.
we are here, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
check done, check done, check done.
yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
you know, we are here, then a couple of things are left.
This, I'm looking here, upcoming work. Like, I don't know if this is, I don't know if this is
No
going
matter what the
to,
tasks are.
your neighbor.
Yeah, we're gonna say that.
Yeah, but like even just this checklist here.
And that's all it was, a major milestone.
Yeah, that's what
We
it
did, like, it was the pre-referendum.
And the
process.
ordinance,
Yeah.
tied to the ordinance.
Oh, right.
Remember that, and the two bars with that.
Yeah.
Try to counting time.
All right, so maybe we can, and this might be like a, unfortunately now we're getting into like a dashboard to do with all the,
Yeah, I know.
like this is my other. Like, but maybe there is kind of the two different things, like you're saying that there's a financial view that we can put, and then there's a task view that we're gonna want to.
Yeah.
That we can have maybe,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think also the simpler the better, because you
Yeah.
don't, we wanna make sure we can continually update it and make sure it's
Correct.
accurate and up to date, and if it gets too complex, it falls behind.
Yeah.
Right, those are great ideas.
Okay. So you guys can come maybe with a couple options. I'll see if maybe we can translate that original,
Yeah,
like, arrow one into something that's, and we can try that and see how that looks, and maybe like a combination of all that is where we'll end up.
Perfect.
All right. Are we ready to go on to D? Okay, right. All right, so we'll right on to discuss summer communications. That, you know, kind of long, oh, we never really went through the graphic.
Yeah.
Sorry, that.
Real quick, we, like, this is the start, this is May 1st right here. We had 18 visits, we saw a spike the day before the topping off ceremony, 92 visits, back to kind of normal levels, then May 25th, 135 visits, I think, maybe we had a town newsletter. I can't remember.
makes me think that's like right by Memorial Day.
Well, 135 visits that day.
What would you think?
I'm curious, what did that happen,
May 25th.
Would have been total views.
right?
Is that how it is?
Last 3 months.
Since January, there's been 35.
Yeah, it was May 25th.
Start of the year.
So it was estimated around 30%.
That's probably what
People
it's
come.
about.
It was like the Thursday before Memorial.
I'm not sure that was.
You get the list of new.
That's good.
That's what there should be a list there of that. New was old.
Because they probably wanted, people probably wanted to see the site.
I can see what browsers.
Hey, I'm going there, on the.
Usually the orders,
Every time I see someone.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so,
But interesting to see where the spike.
yeah, exactly. And we're
Usually
still,
around 30% are the reoccurring,
it's still homepage,
70%.
the biggest.
Still the homepage. let's see.
What's the circle like that? Go down,
Cat, is this all covered Squarespace?
yeah, it's circle there.
Devices.
Mobile visits.
Computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, right in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Respect.
Yeah, there it is, yes, exactly.
Make sure you upgrade the A4. Devin, Google's changed their whole analytics starting July 1st. Just go on and do, because this won't work after July 1st.
Well, you know, this is helpful for us. You know,
Okay. I'll get through that.
Okay.
They have.
there's no point in us
They're
putting
updated.
anything.
Gotcha. They have to go through a punch list. Sorry.
People don't go past the whole.
It's not gonna be right, but.
So we're doing our own things here.
But yeah, and that's where we try to
30th is
concentrate all of the
Yeah,
updates.
well, this is through,
Yeah.
I
Squarespace.
definitely like that new drone.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Look at Google. Try to get much more.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not wrong.
Yeah. Right, right.
But I think Google
Okay.
Analytics is.
All right, perfect. All right, let's go on to diving down and run a summer communications.
So, at our OAC meeting, we were just talking about any neighborhood concerns and, just thinking about the Highlands dedicated page that we have on the website. When I went there earlier, we hadn't updated it since summer 2022, when we created this document and flyer that we sent out. So I think it would be a good opportunity just to refresh it and make sure that we're having up-to-date information. We could probably do it more frequently than once a year, seasonally or quarterly or something like that, which we do anyway. The letter last year was a little bit more targeted specifically to the beginning of construction, so it was the first. Yeah, so it was the early enabling phase, so it said, construction is starting and will last for the, foreseeable future. I just kind of took some of that, but made it more general, so we might not have to update the letter every time. It's almost verbatim for what we have on the Highlands page anyway, just to say, we're here to give you updates. We want an open line of communication, sign up and subscribe for our email blast that we have, all of those things. So that's the letter, and then just upcoming work. This is again consistent with the update that we have on the homepage of just what we're doing over the summer and into the fall. And as always, give Nelson's direct cell phone for everyone. I know he likes that. And then the only other thing, I think I might just update the photos with some of those drone shots, because those are actual real life things. But other than that, I just wanted to show the committee what we were thinking.
So could something like this is great, right here, like just this box, we could put something on the front, or the front page, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We were talking about like a task list or checklist, like I'm looking at them, I'm like, here it is.
Yep.
People are asking, how's the building, like, what's next? Hey, go on the website, they're gonna do this.
Yeah.
The other thing, Kat, I can think of, put the schedule in, but still a construction plan. Even because that hasn't been in the newsletter for a while. Started saying, this is what's gonna go on, we're still planning to do, September. They're just not gonna know when's it gonna be done. So just provide maybe a little more information, you don't need a big, maybe at the bottom, saying as going forward, here's what's gonna be happening. And still the plan is for it to open in September 24th. So when's this thing gonna end? Because they're not gonna school year. Start of the school year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So the only other comment you might want to put on here is, like, with the widening of Monteith Drive, I don't know if we just want to say, we anticipate limited disruption to activities over the summer. Just
Yeah.
something like that. I don't know. There are disruptions, but not to like the concert series that they're going on.
I think what we're also going to be putting on the homepage of the town's website, just like there's a lot of construction going on in town right now. We have Route 4 project, we're gonna have Monteith, we're gonna have something on West Avon Road, we have the roundabout. So there's a lot of summer work in general, and we always put road closure, detour and all that on the town page. So we can just make sure when we know there's gonna be.
To a minimum. If you feel like you're pointing everybody to the website, then.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of summer work going on, so we'll just make sure.
And the Route 4 overnight work is not related to Monteith.
Not related.
It's separate.
It is separate. The state road, it's a state project.
They're repaved, they're gonna ultimately repave them.
Yes, from Town Farm Road to Monteith. They did some earlier.
West Avon Road.
That's a pretty expensive project that they're doing on West Avon Road. That's coming up, closures will be coming up on that.
To start parking it here.
Okay. So when do we think this actually will go
I think in the next week or so, July 1st is probably a good target date to get this out, or we can send it, it's not, if the committee approves it.
By the time it goes out, summer's gonna be half over.
Yeah, I know,
By the time it hits a mailbox.
that's scary thought. It's been out for like 3 days.
Yeah. Okay,
And just by saying this out, creates goodwill.
yeah,
That's all.
everyone good with that? Think so. All right, right, you list great. Need a motion, I'm good. I don't think, right, you know, that, I'm good. Okay, any other business from communications perspective, anything else I wrote that we need to be, I think we talked about that, the newsletter stuff.
Yeah, so it's like the project, let's say, get down 50%. I hear it's just going forward and take what's on the website and do it. Q&A, I think is a good, here's where we are. And just entering, just giving, it's really more of an information. I think these newsletters are more information pieces. They're not advocacy pieces anymore. And so we can do it and then start planning, probably in the springtime for the school opening, some celebration, I said. We'll get you up on a balloon.
That might work.
But I couldn't think of anything. The other thing it wouldn't be hurt if we send a fall newsletter out, send a press release out to the media, give them a heads up. Maybe we'll write a separate article. So it's 1 year, this project now is around 50% done. And so, look for the newsletter. Again, it's goodwill in the community. So people who might read some of the local papers, current, they'll pick up the story.
Do we, one of the things we talked about previously is kind of those town hall meetings that we did have prior to everything starting. We had it at,
Yeah, we had it a year ago.
yeah. I don't know if that's worth our effort. We didn't get huge turnout. We got decent online.
When you
attendance.
do the town council meetings, you seem to do an update in the high school.
Yeah, Johnny's our,
Maybe
liaison,
do a
so he
little
does
extended
update.
thing there. Maybe give them another 5 minutes, say, if this one, in September, maybe spend five or 6 more minutes. So you don't have to have a separate, town meeting. Might just be, because it's hard, like, what are we gonna answer?
No,
No,
we haven't. It's just, it's probably, the only thing it offers different than what we offer on the meetings is the Q&A opportunity that we don't, it's that we do part of the doing public meeting. So, I mean, I don't think if we cover ourselves via this type of communication, it might just be enough unless for some reason.
Oh, yeah,
you
this
like
is-
yeah,
Something
I mean,
different, like it's just something we talked about in the past. but I
Yeah.
just wanna Make sure.
I think it also, those were kind of tied around milestones, whereas,
Yeah,
the one last June was construction starting in the summer with the early enabling and the whole reimbursement rate.
Yes.
Then we ended up having kind of that at the town meeting
Yeah.
in November ahead of the second referendum. So I just can't think of like a milestone where people would be, I think people are just gonna be anxious to get
Summer
into it.
transition, like from old school to new school, would be the only thing I think is
Yeah.
Yeah,
where parents would want to say, what am I doing now? Like drop off, pick up, drop off.
but that might be more of the school level.
It'd probably be a combination, yeah. You've been talking to schools about doing what,
That probably does.
uh,
Scott saying something, he's on mute.
Wisconsin.
Sorry, I was directing one of my children. We just got home from camp. My apologies. They've been engaged in the meeting in the car though, which has been great.
Their input is valued, Scott, always. Do you want to hear? Okay, all right, so just want to make sure we're covering all our bases, considering all our options from the patient's perspective. I think we're in good shape. We got a couple of things we can do.
We can always add and like.
Yeah.
Conversations comes
Oh,
up,
yeah.
absolutely, I can like just add it if we need it. but
Yep.
as of Now.
Yeah, I mean, we had the community meeting, before the town meeting, we also had another community meeting. And there wasn't overwhelming attendance at that either.
No.
yeah, the psychology is kind of, the attitude is that, oh, building's going up, when's it opening? Status report, here's where we are. These are just information pieces.
Yeah.
Versus here's what it is, here's where we are, they're just driven around the construction schedules, the budgets.
Yeah, I think our next big community outreach will be tours, ribbon cutting,
Yeah.
you know, people are gonna be excited to see the new building.
And that's when you want to have the governor, right, I mean, the big room,
Okay.
that's when you get them out.
Yeah, I think it happened, like you did, remember when we did the referendum in the existing high school with tours and we had.
Yeah, that was it, we had
Kids at
color
different
coded
stations.
papers,
Yeah, this time you won't be voting on anything, but you'd be.
Yeah, same kind of.
This touring thing.
we also
Kind of
just
same
got
way.
into the tours, so we just.
Like I said, I forgot
On
about
the
it.
same schedule.
Farmington has a longer schedule.
Hmm?
Farmington has a longer schedule.
A longer
So
schedule.
they'll be opening up after us. But we're ahead of them.
Curious.
Gonna make sure, we're gonna get almost as much square footage done in less time.
Had to get that in there.
But it's pretty-
You're actually a little bit bigger, but not by
They
the
are a little bit.
So quick question, with this subcommittee, would we be planning out like the ribbon cutting and this?
Probably.
Yeah, I think.
Is Scott still on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a template now.
We
have a template.
Yeah, and I think maybe that one, I think we might, there might be some more community
I think so too.
engagement at that level. I know I was approached by somebody from, the Unionville Historical Society, and but the only reason why I got brought up was if we do a time capsule, like I just think they.
Oh, yeah, they
could help
do
us out with some of those kind of things. So I think, you know, the more we can really highlight this as
It's a perfect time to engage the whole community.
I mean, why not the Farmington Valley Symphony Orchestra? At this point, they were a big part of the effort to get this building, you know, a priority as far as community assets. So I think we can.
They would just start.
It's that big opening of the one in Mansfield, the elementary school, and the whole community came in. They were giving tours, the kids gave a thing, so everyone came in there, it was absolutely fabulous, because that project took so long to get it all done, and it's a very different kind of project, but they engaged the community over a period of a week, different events. And, you know, everyone's want to have ownership of this, all your politicians are gonna be the one, this group, you know, your group, you know, the building committee, the town council, the board of
You're
ed,
talking
they're all
about,
gonna want ownership of
so
this.
you're talking about the ribbon cutting ceremony.
Yes.
Okay, because
When the building's
time
up,
capsule, I'm not gonna have people in the, that's what I would, we got crossed off.
Also, I was just gonna bring that up, is that something that we should
yeah,
start?
but the time council, yeah, that's
Yeah.
another.
Yeah, the time capsule, I would start that conversation with the historical site, both
Like now, right?
now, because you want the community.
Because I mean,
We'll get a spot.
that's what I was thinking, like.
Typically in the auditorium.
Yeah,
They get it under the floor.
Kat, you might want to, Megan, Kat, you might want to identify individuals who want to be part of the time.
Yeah.
Or maybe we can even.
Create a subcommittee, Meg.
A little bit.
We as a subcommittee, so.
Oh, you have one now? Oh,
I
okay.
don't know, I'm
Well,
saying,
no, us.
the time capsule be under,
Oh, the
Yeah,
subcommittee,
because I think the time capsule is a part of the whole ribbon cutting
yes.
in the
celebration.
Yeah.
And so what we'll do is, I think we need to first back out. Like, logistically, when they do a ribbon cutting, obviously school's starting. Do you do it before school starts? Do you do it the first weekend school starts? Do you do it after school is done for it? Like, so I think that's like step one, and then backing it out and seeing how much time we need for advertising, for coordinating, for time capsuling people. The people need it. So, just, I mean, you don't have to answer right now, but just if you guys can think of on previous projects you've been, like, when is the best time to have, you know, like, when the Mormon temple opened up here, it was a whole month of tours, and it was a big deal. Before, you know, they moved in, so I wasn't sure if that was,
Actually, I just think, it'll be a race to be done,
yeah.
no matter how much we.
And that's, I don't wanna like make the timeline any tighter.
What we did at Mansfield, actually, they were using the building. They were using the building in April, so it was a functioning school.
Yeah,
And so they wanted to get the teachers into, you know, and so therefore teachers in the classroom, so they could talk about what's going on and stuff like that. It was done on a Friday in the morning, so they had invitation only dignitaries, then they had an open house for the whole community.
Yeah.
I can share.
Yeah,
with you
if you would
all
just
that stuff.
anecdotally, if you guys could think about that, just to start the discussion, just so we can like kind of pinpoint a time frame when we're doing it. I mean, that summer is gonna be closing down one building, opening another, demolition, there's 1928, so like, there's a lot going on the
Yeah,
site.
when you wanna start getting towards, you wanna be like, even though we have a TCO on the building, schools in session, you want everything to be like 100%.
Yeah.
So.
You haven't really determined a date yet, have you, for actually when the building is gonna be usable or approved.
Absolutely, there's.
You have to have it, that's like,
No, I mean, I know you do, but that's, yeah,
Yeah,
still
no,
gonna be
there's
met, that's all.
Yeah.
Like, when I see
first day of school.
Catholic, I see this thing probably 4 to 6 weeks after the building's actually being used.
Okay,
To have an official,
yeah,
let it settle in.
and that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, versus right away, the building's open.
My point is, you also.
It'll just be chaos.
yeah, I just didn't wanna be like,
Last thing
We
you
all
want is to
understand the
be
building.
honest.
But that's
I
okay.
would
It's like,
after school
2 weeks out. and we get it a couple weeks.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I know Scott's out of it, but obviously that's close coordination with, you know, the actual people in the facility of, you know, what's going on, what's happening. You've got
Yeah,
homecoming, all sorts of things.
right,
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 they
right.
move the house, I can't move the house.
Oh, it's caretaking.
Like, great job.
Yeah, oh, we have a-
I'll go out there.
More than a year.
Was the previous super there?
Yeah, she was.
The time capsule, I feel
All right.
like is something we can probably start.
Yes, definitely.
All right, so I think we've got a couple things we know we want to discuss at our next meeting, which are good,
Yes.
which I've got is anything we collected for Q&A. And then kind of the status update pieces, I think we're gonna kind of come to the table with some ideas around that for, our conversation.
Some sort of, whatever, calendar, some visual.
Yes, correct, yeah, what kind of pieces do we want to use
Calendar
around
schedule.
that, I think we'll. Does that make sense? I think that's a good topic. All right, anything else? Want to give ourselves a few minutes before the next one? All right, so can I have a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn. I will second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. We will adjourn at 4:47.